Katie.
Hi, I'm Camilla.
And welcome to You're Gonna Be Fine, the self-development podcast with a chatty twist.
Please know that we are not professionals, just regular girls sharing from our own journeys to hopefully educate, motivate, and inspire you on yours.
So if you're dealing with something serious, please speak to a professional because at the end of the day, they are the experts, not us.
If you are enjoying the podcast, please rate, review, subscribe, and share with someone who you think would enjoy it.
It helps us more than you know to reach more gorgeous people just like you.
With that being said, enjoy the episode and remember, whatever it is,
You're gonna be fine.
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of your favourite podcast. Today we are going to be discussing how to handle setbacks like a boss.
Love it.
And I feel like it's a really good topic because we've both had setbacks and we've both handled them. Well, I mean, I haven't always handled all setbacks like a boss, but I've learned things along the way.
Do as we do, do as we say, not as we do.
Exactly. And I feel like I've learned a load of tools that will help other people when they're going through setbacks, and so have you. So first and foremost, let's do the oh fuck, because obviously we have got a habit of forgetting those. So you go first.
Okay, so my oh fuck of the week, I'll try and keep this short and sweet, but it's actually quite a long story. And it's been quite a, very big decision that I have decided to make, in that I started my business, Your Sober Glow, just over a year ago. And I have decided to end that chapter of Your Sober Glow, which feels bittersweet, to be honest, because Your Sober Glow was such a big dream that I had ever since I stopped drinking. I remember writing in my journal in 2020 when I was 6 months sober, I will have a sober community. And then I did it. I did it after many a setback.
Yeah.
I did do it. Good segue. And I've had an amazing year. It's been a great experience. The amount of amazing women that I've met and helped. And it's been an honor to help people explore their sober curiosity. And there are people in Your Sober Glow that have now got over a year of sobriety, literally since starting Your Sober Glow. So I can truly say it's been a massive success. However, personally for me, I have found, and this has been very unexpected for me, but I have found that it has kind of kept me stuck in my own journey with regards to my sobriety. So obviously, every meeting we have, the content I make on social media, the conversations that I have, the one-on-one coaching that I do, always relates back to my drinking. And, for a long time I thought, well, I'm talking about sobriety, it's positive and stuff. But obviously I wouldn't have sobriety if I didn't have drinking. So it does keep me stuck talking about my drinking a lot. And it just in the end started to have quite a negative effect on my own sobriety and that feeling of kind of low vibe. It was kind of becoming a bit draining.
Yeah.
And I was really honest with the members. I said to them, I always tell them, do what's right for you regardless of other people. Put yourself first. And this felt like a very put myself first type decision. So it was very emotional. We had our last call a few weeks ago and there were tears, there was laughter, there was love in the room, so much support for everyone. And I genuinely am so proud of every single one of those members. Like I said, it was a complete honour to walk them through their own journey. But, I've got other things to be cracking on with now. I'm broadening the help, I think, obviously continuing with my life coaching, continuing with the podcast. And even though it was a hard decision, and what did you say on a previous episode? Self-love is difficult decisions.
100%. And not all change feels good in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a difficult decision, but definitely the right one. And I'm just so proud and so grateful.
Yeah. And I want to say I am so proud of you as well, because genuinely you have learned so much as well that are transferable skills. It's just amazing. The impact that you've had on, these women is incredible.
Thank
you. I remember actually brainstorming the names and helping you with the names.
How long did that take, by the way? I could not think of a name for so long. That was the hardest bit.
But literally, I am just such a proud friend. And I feel like, there's so much work that you will still do to, help these people. And we're going to do some episodes as well that are about sobriety so that there is this space as well to talk about it there. So well done you.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank
Fabulous. My oh fuck is a bit more of a serious one actually for once. Because I was saying before, I said all my oh fucks are so trivial. And Katie often has ones that are quite profound. And then I'm like, shit.
You're like, my tits were out.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. And then you'll be like, they're like, you know, saying
My life-changing decision.
Exactly. I'm just like, fucking hell. Like, I'm just the dud. Like, seriously. No. So, actually, just on that, don't let me unzip this because I've not got a top on underneath. And sometimes if I get a bit hot,
retake.
yeah, exactly. So I just need to be really careful about this outfit. So my oh fuck of the week was, so I had a really bad bout of food poisoning this week, which absolutely floored me. And I feel like I've really had the realization with being self-employed that to an extent, if you are ill, you are fucked. Like, no, seriously, I've had like a bit of a eureka moment.
Yeah, well,
like,
you're on your own.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And me saying it's serious, Casey's literally pissing herself. Like, ah! But I just had the realization where I thought, God, like, I'm not invincible. Like, and I haven't been ill like that and throwing up and vomiting.
Yeah.
Soz for TMI since I was about 12, genuinely. Yeah. And I really feel like it has taken the wind out of my sails a bit because I've realized I'm very much set up in a way where there is no contingency. There's nobody else that can take over from what I'm doing. And I've signed a load of new clients recently. So there's a lot of pressure. And because I took like half a day off, it meant that the next day when I should have been recovering, I was up till 1 a.m. trying to catch up on the work.
Yeah.
Then Sam got ill. He got the same as me. And he was obviously, I was working from home and he was expecting me to nurse him. And he was there like, I'm thirsty. And I was like, I'm broke because I've lost a day of work. So, you know, I just feel like it was really eye-opening.
Sorry, I'm just laughing two things. This was her serious one.
Yeah,
Can you imagine?
I know.
Can you imagine it was a funny one?
I know,
like,
yeah, shit.
Are you sure this is a serious one?
Yeah, no, it is.
Is it?
Because I've had like an awakening where
and
it's
also,
like, I'm fucked.
The other thing that's making me laugh is we were on a Zoom call the other day discussing the podcast and like planning episodes and whatnot. And in the background, I could just hear Sam like wrenching his guts up. And I was like, oh, Jesus, is Sam all right? You were like, sorry, I'll just mute it just while he's vomiting in the background.
I know, honestly,
he's
so
ill,
the poor boy,
him.
literally. But I feel so guilty because I've been a shit nurse. And unfortunately for him, fortunately for me, I was ill on the Tuesday really bad. And the Wednesday I was really bad, but it was his day off on Wednesday. He's employed, so he could be off. Like, and he was my bitch. Like, he was my biatch. I was like, I need flavour. I need ice lollies. I need Ribena. I was like,
I was
being, and I hold my hands up. He was an angel.
And then when he was ill, you were like, I'm busy.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm busy.
No, honestly, that was exactly what he was like. I was like, I have to work just because I'm here. I'm not really here. And he was like, and you know, when we got off the You Are Going to Be Fine Zoom call, it was 9 p.m. And the poor boy would have been on Zoom for 2 hours. He goes from the other room, I'm still alive. He was like, in case you cared. He's like, I'm still alive.
I feel really bad because that was me.
I feel awful because I was like, shit, because I just got a voice note from a client. So I was listening to that and I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I literally had been on, he was like, I just thought you'd check. I was like, I've not finished working. And I felt awful.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm working.
And I felt like, I'm alive.
Aww.
And I thought, oh God. So I felt really bad. And that was my own
honey,
fuck.
gotta make the money though.
I know, and I felt really bad, but just the oh fuck was like that realization that like.
No, you are on your own.
It's really scary as well.
Yeah.
Like, not that I'm not broody at all, but say I was to want children or kids, like, what on earth am I supposed to do?
Just don't even entertain that thought, because that's too stressful. You'll be at a different point in time then. So,
so I
certainly
just,
not
it has
now.
like
just keep
really,
on your contraception.
Yeah, I'm double dosing. No, but I'm literally like, just it's eye opening, and I think because I've touch wood, not been touch with my toes.
Oh my God, by the way, the foot fetishes are in full
I know,
force.
sorry. If you're watching
your toes
this,
match your
enjoy.
Well, my tracksuit.
So yeah, I think that was just a little bit of, because I've just not really been ill before, it has made me a bit more
you're not
mindful.
an ill person.
No, I'm not. So I just, I'm a bit concerned now that if I was ever to be ill, I would be fucked. But yeah, anyway, that was my oh fuck.
Well, that was a good setback.
Yes.
See, that was a good segue.
A great
segue.
Oh God.
I'll say
Right, you take over the reins now.
This is the last one of the session, can you tell?
Shit.
Okay, good segue with your sickness.
Yes.
I know we're always trying to grasp a segue on every episode. I feel like that should just be a segment of the episodes because we're always trying to get a segue. But it is true, you being ill set you back. And obviously, everybody in life gets setbacks, big, small, major, minor. I've had absolutely loads, but you can't ignore them. You can't move past them. Not have them, but there is a way to obviously harness them and move past them. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So my first tool, tip, piece of advice is to acknowledge that it's happened, acknowledge how you feel about it, but don't stay stuck in those negative sort of feelings, because I'm a massive advocate, and I know you are too, of feel it, because it's the only way to move past anything, certainly negative things. You need to process what's happened.
Yeah.
And being able to do that as quick as possible and move through it as quick as possible helps you not stay stuck. Because as much as if something happens and you, or say for example, you feel like a failure, or you feel negatively about something that's happened, if you stay there, nothing good comes from that.
100%.
Like, it's so unproductive to sit in self-pity.
Yeah. And also fail forward.
Yes.
Like always lean into it. Feel your feelings and allow yourself that, because otherwise, if you don't resolve the feelings that come with that setback, that failure, however you want to frame it, it will come back to bite you in the arse when you're thriving, and you'll have to resolve it then. So you may as well just expedite the process and just feel those feelings, and just like allow yourself to be a bit sad. Like allow yourself to just acknowledge the setback, and then it will catapult you forward. I think that's like just the best thing that you can do.
Yeah.
So the second thing that I think is a great tool to help you face setbacks and handle them is to actually shift your perspective on setbacks. So for me, I love this phrase, and it's no. So NO means next opportunity.
Yeah,
so instead of seeing it as, that's a failure, that's a setback, you see it as, that wasn't for me, or, that was just not supposed to happen like that, and something else better is coming. So I think that that's a really nice way. And also, like, never a failure, always a lesson. 100%, like, it's so important to acknowledge that, just like reframing it in your mind. It's a mindset shift.
Yeah, I think sometimes as well, don't beat yourself up if you can't see the lesson straight away.
Yes, that's key.
Because I sometimes in the past have put pressure on myself, and then I get fuming, like, there is no lesson, because I couldn't see it in the moment, and I just be livid or really hurt.
Yeah.
And then actually maybe like a year later, you're like, oh, that's what I learned, or that's what I strengthened, or whatever. So but there is always a lesson.
Yeah.
Always. Either a blessing or a lesson. Every situation is either a blessing or a lesson.
It's interesting with a setback as well, because I think setbacks and failures are slightly different, obviously, because a setback could mean that you've tried a door, it's not for you, and then you kind of go back and you try a different key.
But that's perspective too, isn't it? Because some people might have the perspective that if it didn't work out, it's a failure. But because your mindset is more geared towards lessons, positivity, you're like, oh no, that just wasn't for me. That's cool.
Yeah.
But a lot of people would be like, oh my God, I failed at that, if you've got that type of mentality. So it's just something to be aware of, isn't it? I just don't really like the word failure. It's so cliche for me to say this, but it is true. And I do think it is quite a good mindset to have, is that you've not failed, you've just learned. Like, there's so many things. Like, prime example, when I first started Your Sober Glow, I launched it, sold one on the basis of a community, sold one community.
That was the first episode.
And I was like, oh my God, shit, I've sold this community to this woman. It's going to be her on her own, like solo. So I had to refund the woman, which was mortifying. And obviously I could have perceived that as a massive failure. I spent months doing this and setting it up for it to then not work. And then I had to refund her, earned £0, quit my fucking job to do that.
Yeah.
And like, I could have internalized that and maybe not tried or really beat myself up. And I remember in the moment, feel your feelings, like I just said.
Yeah.
I did really feel it. And I was like, oh yeah, that doesn't feel good, obviously. But actually very quickly, like within a day, and I remember Millie, my friend, saying to me, you're handling this really well. Like, it's really inspiring how you decide, oh, well, like, I've had a knock, but you learn. And I changed the format of Your Sober Glow. relaunched it in the April and sold out on the first launch.
That's happened to me loads of times in masterclasses, loads of times, to the point where I've like had to, like in the early days, there was like 3 people and I'd just have to give people free tickets to come. So there was bums on seats. So I think like setbacks, like the setback was that nobody fucking bought a ticket. But then the action that I moved past it was, right, okay, it's not going to look like it I thought it was going to look, but it's going to look like, you know, there's going to be people there. They've just not paid. I've just not made, you know, a profit, but it's still like getting me to where I want to be because it's a practice. I was able to practice my masterclass on these people, which I reframed, and I was like, right, it doesn't look like how I thought it was going to look, but it's still a positive because I've still got that opportunity to practice. So it's, you know, it's rewiring in your head. But I think failure as well, just talking about that, the word failure, again, there's so many words that we don't like, but failure, manifestation, hate those words. Like, I think failure is more black and white, aka you've gone to do high jump and you've not got over the high jump bar. That is a failure. You've not done it. Like, but I think everything else is too wishy-washy to be like, that's a failure. And that's why I think the word should only be used for like black and white things. Like you've not, you know, you wanted to learn Mandarin by this date, you've not done it. Like that's a failure because you've not done it. But, you know, like, you know, you setting up your Sober Glow, how on earth, and then deciding that you know, you don't want to continue it, how is that a failure? It would never ever, you know, if it would never ever cross my mind that would be a failure. Not. And it's the same with people that are wanting to set things up. The reason why they don't is because they think people will be like, she started that and then
it failed. When it's nothing but success if you tried. You're only failing if you don't even try. Like how sad if you're not even gonna give it a whirl. Like I've learned so much in the last year. I can't even I mean, it would be a whole episode to talk about that. And it's been just because you've decided to stop something doesn't mean it's failed. Absolutely not. No, it's been an incredible journey. And off the back of talking about your Sober Glow, I think it's really important to celebrate your success. Like I look back at the last year, and sorry I keep talking about this example, but it's just because it's so fresh. I'm celebrating every win that I've had over the last year. What an amazing experience. The people that I've helped, and they've helped me, and I've learned so much. It's just it's been nothing but success. And I think learning to celebrate the wins, small, no matter how small. I mean, what are we like with the podcast? When we hit 500 followers on TikTok, we were like, woo! Because like, if you don't celebrate the small wins, like, why? What's the point? What's the point? That's what keeps you going, I think.
100%. And another one that I think is really imperative with setbacks is control the controllables. Like, do not waste brain power on setbacks that you can't control. Like, it's just completely redundant time. So just like move forward, or just like find a different way, find a different key, like I said.
Yeah, and on that, the controllables, the things that are within your control, sometimes they can feel massive. And so even though it's in your control, you feel then overwhelmed because you're like, that's too big for me to tackle. I'm just going to stay stuck in this self-pity state of mind because it's more comfortable. But it's really helpful to break it down. And a massive part of life coaching or any self-development coaching is breaking down the goal into small, manageable actions. And over time, you just sort of chip away at those things. And before you know it, you've climbed Kilimanjaro. The metaphorical Mount Kilimanjaro.
The walk.
Oh my God, you need to listen to Bianca's episode to get that, because honestly that is hilarious. But break it down into manageable chunks, because it can some setbacks can literally feel like the end of the world. And you're like, how am I actually going to fix this problem? Like it's unmanageable, but it is. You just need to break that down.
I like that piece of advice. And then finally, I think this one is something that I've learned to do recently, and putting, ego to the side sometimes, and like not wanting to bother people. But I think asking for help, like if you're going through a setback, you need to ask people for help if you feel like you need it, because I think people struggling with setbacks alone can feel very overwhelming, very lonely. And more often than not, people are so willing to help, and they actually might have a different like approach to getting over the setback or how to deal with it.
Resources,
and I think, a problem shared is a problem halved.
100%
And I think that is so key. Like, don't let your like ego or like, I can handle this myself because I'm, your pride. Pride will ruin a lot of things for a lot of people. And I think I've got a lot better at that. When I'm struggling with something, I will say like, oh, could you just like give me your take on this? Or like, what would you do in this situation? People love to be asked for their opinion.
People want to help people, which is lovely.
I love being asked for my opinion. In fact, Lindsay, who's one of the guests that we're going to have on the podcast, which is super exciting, she asked me for some advice and she had a bit of a setback, and I just sent her a voice note and gave her my perspective, and she was so grateful for that. But also I was grateful that she'd asked. So it's really, really important
working together, isn't it?
Collaboration,
really
and just tapping into why have you got friends and family if you cannot ask them for help in times of need and when you've got setbacks. So yes, short and snappy one today.
I know,
but please don't forget to like,
subscribe,
and rate the
and
podcast.
Review. I thought we were going to do a word.
Yeah, me too. We were doing so well. But yeah, it really, really does help to spread the word of the podcast. So yeah, please don't forget, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram.
Yes, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.